If you feel like a saint, you're probably not one. And you probably won't feel like one for very long. And if you are in here wondering if you are a saint, then you probably are one. And you still won't feel like one anytime soon. If it were obvious that there are saints and there are not saints, then we wouldn't dress up like ghosts, goblins, and Miley Cyrus on Halloween. That is, All Saints' Eve. And then the next day, remember all those who went through that door, opened for them by God, in whose eyes the deaths of his saints are blessed. It's not obvious, not ghosts, goblins, and other horrible manifestations of the evil one, nor is it obvious who the saints are. But their deaths are blessed. Blessed is the man, it says in Psalm 1, who walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly. You mean right now? Or as an average? Or all the time? If it's right now, then I've got it covered. In fact, I think I can hold out until about noon today, and then I'll look at my fantasy football team, and, well, godliness may depart from me. I need a Messiah, someone who walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly all the time, who looketh at his fantasy lineup, and somehow, miraculously, does not sin. So I keep reading until I get to the end of Psalm 2, where I find him, my rescuer, my refuge, and it says, blessed are all who take refuge in him. Boy, do I have to, because if I didn't, I'd be doomed. And there he is, my rescuer, my refuge, standing on the mount, giving the sermon. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. If you're saying to yourself, gosh, I'd like to be poor in spirit, but I don't quite know how, then you're doing it wrong. Didn't you hear me? Blessed is the man who walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly is a burden placed upon you, an unearthly burden, a goal you cannot achieve unless you take refuge in the Messiah. In other words, you already are poor in spirit by nature, and your Messiah has come to give you refuge. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. If you are poor in spirit, then the kingdom of heaven is yours. It is yours. It's yours right now. No waiting in line, no prayers to say, no good deeds to do. It's all yours for the taking, a gift from God to you, but only if you're poor in spirit. What? It's not obvious? Here's what's obvious. Right now, you are in mourning. Right now, you are meek. Right now, you hunger and thirst for righteousness. Right now, you are merciful. Right now, you are pure in heart. Right now, you are peacemakers. Right now. That's what's obvious. And because it's not obvious that the kingdom of heaven is yours right now, it's also not obvious that you shall be comforted, that you shall inherit the earth. Now, there's something to think about, seeing as how you will dwell in the dust one day. You shall be satisfied. You shall receive mercy. You shall see God. And you shall be called sons of God. They're not obvious, but they're true. Because the one who promises you the unobvious is trustworthy. His name is Jesus, and he is your refuge. Being poor in spirit hurts, doesn't it? We were talking about the sixth commandment in catechism class last time, you know, the adultery one, and we very quickly discovered how much hurt is in our lives right now because of the adultery of others. And we recognize how much hurt we're about to deliver to each other because we are, by nature, adulterous people. We are. We all are. It's only a measure of degree when we judge each other, and we have to judge each other because of the hurt we deliver one unto another. And you know what I'm talking about, and if you don't, then maybe you're lying to yourself about your adultery, which is another commandment. That's poor in spirit, my friends, and if you feel the hurt you've given and the hurt you've received, then you have a Messiah right now in whom you take refuge. He's on that mount delivering the sermon for you today. If you feel that hurt, then yours is the kingdom of heaven. Are you sorry for the hurt you've taken and given? Then you shall be comforted. Are you going to die because you are weak, unable to not die? Then you shall inherit the earth. Are you hungry for the righteousness that comes from God, thirsty for it? Then you shall be satisfied. You saints know the hurt of sin, and you know that the hurt is helped only because someone showed you mercy. The mercy of a God who sent his Son to preach the sermon for you on the mount, then mounted up to Jerusalem to die on Mount Calvary. That blessed man who walked not in the counsel of the ungodly, but put Satan behind him and died to wash away your sins. Oh, the hurt remains, but the hurt remains mostly so that you know how to show mercy. Is someone hurt because of sin? You are the merciful, aren't you? You know the hurt of sin, and the hurt purifies your heart if you understand the hurt of sin as something Jesus felt on the cross. And if you do, then it's easy for you to see that you are a peacemaker, bringing the hurt of the cross to other people who hurt from sin. That's what the Son of God did, and that's what sons of God do. All of you, making peace with each other because God made peace with you in Jesus. He's your refuge, and he has to be because they hate you. You're obviously weak, obviously in pain, obviously hungry and thirsty, so they exact power over you. The game is about power, about delivering more hurt than they receive, and they cannot even conceive of forgiveness. The idea of delivering over hurt so that it is taken up by a Messiah. They hate you when you point out the hurt of sin because you are pointing out weakness, their weakness. And so they persecute you and utter all kinds of evil against you, even though you are a peacemaker. You are sons of God, however, and you see what they did to the Son of God. For all the power they employed, even all the power of the greatest kingdom this earth has ever known, the Roman Empire, which employed the power of the cross as a method of pure, evil punishment. It was for righteousness' sake that Jesus took up the cross of the Roman Empire and all the powers of this present darkness. Rejoice and be glad, for your reward is already great in heaven. It may not be obvious, but this is how they treat everyone who belongs to Jesus. Rejoice and be glad, I tell you, for when they persecute you for believing in Jesus, it is a sign to you that you will rise from the dead. And then you shall feel like a saint.